time for some more truth, guys. You've probably seen the news or there's a news post saying that this dude called Anwar Hosseini has damaged the Glade of Light Memorial, had some scratches on it and all of that. So I've got some court case going on with Manchester City Council, but fundamentally what the scratching and everything on that is, it's just me expressing gratitude, appreciation and love for all the 22 victims and all the people who died in the Manchester Arena attack. And I did that whole thing in a place of absolute love, unconditional love, of being soulful service to them and actually doing some healing and all of that. It's not me doing the healing, it's absolute doing it and all of that. So yeah, I had a call the other day with the so I got released on probation, went to the first court and everything. I processed a lot of the suffering and all of it, the judgment, but it's still a lot of it is left. And I had this call the other day with the lady from the probation service, like preparing a report about what happened and all of this. And I've been pretty absolutely clear about my truth, like why I did it, what happened. It was really just to express gratitude, appreciation and love for all those victims. And understand, like, instead of me just writing it on a piece of paper and leaving in a note, at that moment I didn't have that stuff with me, so I had this Buddha necklace with me. I've seen some photos of it on social media, and I basically wrote down in the transcendence, I call it the transcendence light language. It's basically the language of energy, the language of consciousness, the language of light, the language of spirituality, the ethereal language that we all speak as every being, as humans, as animals, as birds, and as extraterrestrials and aliens or whatever you call them. It's like that. It's that language. You can call it the source language that we all speak and able to comprehend on different soul or different consciousness levels. And that thing you see there, those drawings and everything, that is a part of that language, because geometry is like energy. Think of it like this: like light is color, color is geometry, geometry is energy, energy is etheric or ethereal or ether, ether is consciousness, consciousness is spirituality, spirituality is telepathy. So this whole universe, this whole creation is telepathic, telepathic creation of Allah, the absolute, the transcendental, the absolute source creator. Actually part of that, some more notes is like the lady was asking me, like, what is your religion, or what is that, or who do you believe in? I said I believe in the absolute source creator, that there is only one absolute source creator that creates everything, that created everything, that will create everything, because there is no past, present, future thing. Is just the eternal now moment here. So yeah, that is why I have a court case going on with Manchester City Council. From my perspective, what I did was, it's even though it is wrong to damage like a memorial like that, but in that moment, in that state where they have the whole thing on CCTV recording and all of that, I was praying, I was really just crying, and at the same time I was like dancing and really just uplifting my own energy and the energy of all those beings. Because really think of it like this whole universe, this whole cosmos, all of that, the whole Manchester Arena and everything, even though it happened on outer physical reality, it is still happened within each of us as well, because of the way of the quantum or quantum entanglement, things like that. Like, when one thing happens to one being, it affects the whole of creation, every other being. So I know what I did was wrong, writing on the memorial, what do you call them, the stones. I wrote them on them. Even though other people looking at it, it looks like a bunch of scratches that are meaningless, but from my perspective and from the perspective of the absolute source creator, it is a very meaningful thing. It has a lot of significance, a lot of meaning. Think of it like this: without those scratches, even though this whole memorial, the Glade of Light in Manchester, is a very sacred, a very beautiful thing to commemorate the lives that are lost in the Manchester Arena attack and all of that. But at the same time, you gotta look at it like, from the perspective of absolute, like maybe it doesn't have that extra meaning or extra, I don't know, significance without those markings. That's my truth, and I expressed all of that in the different hearings they did and all of that. And because they had the whole interview when I was in the detention center recorded, they came, because I was talking about like consciousness and spirituality and stuff like that, they came back and like, the lady came back and like, did you say that you're the second coming of Christ? I was like, no, I've never claimed that. I will never claim that. I've never claimed of being any second coming of Christ or anything like that. But what I did express there as well, like the second coming, even though Christ, Jesus Christ or Yeshua Christ is absolutely real in body, body is not an issue for these magnificent divine beings, for the messengers of Allah, for the Messiah and all of that. I said no, of course not. But what? So there, from my perspective, there are two second coming of Christ, in a sense that even though Christ exists in bodies, probably here on earth already, but the main second of coming is more like the consciousness, the awareness itself. Some people call it Christ consciousness and things like that. So yeah, I just wanted to express the truth, and I said no, of course I'm not that, and yeah, that's my truth. That's why I have a case going on with Manchester City Council, just like and here's the thing, like, whatever judgment the judge makes, looking at my truth, looking at what I've presented, my truth and all of that, and also making their own judgment, looking at the report and everything, whatever judgment they make, the judge makes, I said it already, I said I will honorably accept it and go through the punishment and face the truth, because I've already faced the music, I've already faced it anyway. But because really fundamentally, if you think about it, the law of karma, the law of dharma, whatever actions we make, it's like we plant the seeds, and the seeds bloom in different times and different scales. So I planted that seed of like damaging that memorial, and I faced the judgment, I'm facing the judgment, and I will face the rest of the judgment that's left. And whatever the decision the judge makes, I will honor it respectfully and honorably and go through, whether they put me in prison, whether they say, hey, do community service or whatever, I'll do it, or they put the ankle trace, whatever the judgment they make, I'll honorably accept it and go through the whole process and face judgment, so justice can be served. Because without justice, if justice is not served, then why are we even here? It's like, what does it even mean to be a human being? Like, it's not some place that anybody can just come and kill people and bomb stuff, and me coming and damaging the memorial and not facing the consequences. Like, justice must be served, and that is fundamentally important. So that is a summary of why I have a case going on with Manchester City Council. So yeah, the other thing that wants to be expressed through me, or my truth, is that even though in my social medias and everything I use the name Royal Anwar or Royal Anwar Transcendence, the name on my passport is Anwar Husseini, Hosseni. That's why in the news it says that. But that to me is just it's a name and just an identity. It's like that's how people know me in the legal system, as Anwar Husseini. It's just on my passport. Nothing more than that. And royal, the word royal has a lot of significance to me. R0YAL. It's a title, it's a name, it's part of my work. But then Royal Anwar Transcendence, that is a whole new, it's like an identity again. Because think of it like this, we are a very multidimensional being. There's a lot of sides within us. I have just used what they call NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, just to name the different sides within me, the main ones at least, like the main 13 ones, 013 in total, which is what that whole Transcendence, Infinity, Merkaba and everything is all about. It's just me naming the different sides within me, so I can understand myself better and say, hey, when I'm in that moment of, let's say, example of like when I am in a state of very despair, very sad, very angry, very wrathful, like really doing a lot of unbalanced things, that side of me I call it darkest wrathful beast. Yes, just to name that side so I can be aware of it. And then there is the side of me that is very pure light being, very spiritual, very obedient to Allah's orders and all of that I call brightest, oddest light. And then there is Royal Anwar, that is the name of this body or the person talking to you right now. And then there is Royal Anwar Transcendence, that's some other titles or names of me, sides of me that I've been able to understand and comprehend, that are going to be shared with the world through my website royalanwar.com. And Even though yeah, it's like even though everything I say on social media and everything is just me exercising the freedom of speech, because really if somebody cannot express whatever they want to express, their truth, whatever they have got going on, then do we even have freedom? Do we even have freedom of speech if we get censored, if we get blocked on social medias, or if we get followed or whatever? Then do we even have freedom? Not at all. Then really there's no justice in that. So yeah, again, it's all coming back to justice and how justice is important and why it must be served. So yeah, even though I have a different name on social media, I'm not trying to hide a part of me, or I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. It's just me using different names for different characters, different identities within me that I've come to understand. And it's just like me having fun with me. Just like, even though there is only one being within me, there is only one of us here. It just makes it for the human mind, for the human heart to interact with this whole reality. It makes it easier to have those different names, different titles and everything. So it can, it just makes it easier for me to actually navigate the human life, because for me, a lot of this spirituality, a lot of this metaphysics stuff, a lot of this crazy stuff about the universe, how it all works and all of that, even though I'm very new to it, I'm very still learning, it all seems to be I seem to enjoy it, honestly. It's just something I like, and all of that, the fire just turned on itself. And the human life is what's been the most challenging. It's just for me to navigate this human experience, what it's all about, what it means to be a human being. And you can and that whole court experience, the whole courting with the Manchester City Council, that is me just like not being able to navigate the human life, not being really careful about my actions, or thoughtful about it, or mindful of how my actions affects other human beings, because fundamentally whatever I do affects you, whatever you do affects me. Whether we accept that or not, that is your choice. So yeah, it's been a very transformative experience. I've become a really totally new person, new being. My whole mindset have shifted, my whole heart and everything is shifted. It's like the whole month of February was, think of it like this, choosing to go into absolute darkness, like total darkness, like leaving the whole light and everything behind, and just focusing on what is on the absolute extreme end of the darkness and all of that, so I could experience what it's like to be outside or without the light, and actually losing that the path of the light. And shit just got out of control, basically. While I was in the prison, in the detention center, I had a dream vision, or that there was this lady thing came and said, hey, the devil wants to see you. So I met the devil, Lucifer, Shaitan, Jinn, Satan, Dajjal, and all of that. It's just one being anyway. I met him, had a chat with him, and all of that. Don't know what we talked about, but we were sitting across the table talking for a while. Had these magnificent eyes, and they were golden and turning, and there were symbols in them and all of that. I don't know why the devil wanted to see me and all of that. That stuff is a mystery to me. I think it has a lot to do with the video I did before this, saying that I was in hell. So I have been in hell before, and it's really this place. Think of it like from my experience, what I remember, what I saw. This thing is like, think of the hell as this thick sheet of glass like this. It's like a layer between the different levels of consciousness within us, within this whole universe and all of that. And I was basically turned into a piece of paper. My whole being was turned into like this thin, and I was in between. I was within that glass and all of that, and I was being tormented. I was suffering. I was going through a lot of pain and all of that. But like I said in the video before, I don't know why a part of me just enjoyed that, honestly. It's just part of me. It's just part of my nature, I think. Just like, I don't know if you have heard anybody saying that they went to hell. Ooh. and a part of them actually enjoyed that suffering, that pain. That's how much of a strange, odd being I am. And I've heard that before. A lot of people have said, hey Roel, you're a very odd person, you're very strange, you're so different, like you do things that nobody else is doing. Like in Manchester I do a lot of howling and roaring and meowing like this. Meow, ow. I'm not doing it too loud because it's getting dark and I'm next to this apartments here and all of that, next to the node number 0 of the Transcendence, grid of joyful love, luminous light and peaceful unity, also called the planetary grid, or the consciousness grid, which is like a basic version of the Transcendence, grid of joyful love, luminous light and peaceful unity, which is like a thrice grid of thrice great grid. So yeah, those are some truth about why I have this whole case with Manchester City Council going on. And it's fascinating because when I saw that thing on the website, on the news, if you just type in Manchester Memorial of Light, Glade, I think it's that, it will come up like this news. I think it was like 9th of February or something. I think so, it was 9th, can't remember exactly. But there is a news story coverage. And when I saw that, part of me was like, why is that public? You know, why is that like on like, what do you call it, on the news and all of that? Why is that being reported? And again, I could sense the fear coming from me, you know, thinking like, oh, you know, what if somebody tries to hurt me because I damaged that memorial thing? And I have faith that that will not happen, because, you know, if you look at the truth and what I've experienced so far in this video and the rest of it and why I did it, just to express gratitude, appreciation and love for the victims of the Manchester Arena, because, you know, I was in Manchester when that happened, and on that day when it happened, and the rest of it, you know, I think I was posting on social media as well if anybody needs help, whatever. But I was in town, and, you know, I witnessed that for at least a day or so, for a few days, like the whole of Manchester, the whole of the world kind of stood still. Everybody became, like the many became one. Like we all lost the sense of identity, the sense of religion. Like nobody was giving a fuck about like if you're a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew, or if you're this color or that color, or you believe in this or believe in that. Like that day or that period, like all of that sense of identity or sense of I-ness dissolved, and the whole of Manchester, in a sense the whole of the world and the whole of creation, everything became one. So it was a very sad day, a very mournful day, but at the same time a very sacred day that, you know, a lot of us decided to leave our judgments of each other and realize that, hey, we're all just one being, there is only unity, and that we can choose to be existing as one being, as one, I call it the new earth, evolved humanity, one cosmic family of infinite diversity, the eternal, one conscious, harmonious civilization. We can choose to be that, or we can choose to be in a state of chasm consciousness or a duality consciousness, where people say, hey, you're black, I'm white, so therefore I'm different than you and you're different than me. Or say, oh, Roel, you do howling, you do roaring, and you're different, you're strange, why you do that, you should be going to mental health hospital for that. That is actually discrimination, and I can, if I wanted to, I can choose to actually sue those people and take them to court and for being discriminative against me being expressing my spirituality, my truth. So, but, you know, fuck it, I'm not doing that. It's just a waste of my time, and I let people, you know, whatever they say, let them say about me. I know a lot of people have been gossiping and saying I'm crazy and all of that, but I've said this before, I am crazy, I am beyond crazy, you know, because, you know, a lot of these things that I study, like metaphysics and spirituality and how the universe works and all of that, like what is consciousness, like what is God, like why are we here, like what is life, like what is the purpose of humanity, why am I here, like why do I exist, like what is this whole thing right now I'm talking to you, like how the fuck is this thing even happening, how is the telepathic creative power force or the spiritual ethereal energy light essence manifesting as everything you see around you, as all these plants, as trees, as this fire, and as this and that. Like, these are the most difficult, the most challenging questions. And I have been immersing myself in that, especially the past year, or specifically in 2020, basically most of the end of 2020, a lot of the 2021 and beginning of 2022. But it's like I've been subconsciously, unconsciously studying all of that and searching for the truth. Basically, I'm always looking for the truth, and the truth is so big, so huge that it broke me apart. It broke me into pieces, into zillions of pieces. Oh, hello. Yeah, just doing a video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't know if it was like, so. No, you're good. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Yeah. No, I was just talking, but I was just wondering if you could. What?
Yeah.
Finished last exams or something?
No, yeah, this is I'm actually going to talk about. So this is a fascinating thing, because this gentleman here just saw me here burning some books and making a fire, and he was just curious, like, hey, you cool? You know, that's pretty awesome, because, you know, he could just judge me and say, hey, this guy is being weird and just burning some shit, some books, or he's got some exam and everything, but he chose to actually be curious and look for the truth. He asked me a question, I said, I'm cool, I'm just doing a video, burning some books and some journals, just making a fire and talking about some stuff. So thank you, brother. Come here, bro, give me a hug.
Yes, bro. That's cool,
Thank you. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew.
So do you blog in that or something? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel.
Have you?
Yeah.
What is it? Oh, bro, I'm
yeah.
so obsessed with YouTube. That's all I watch on my walks.
SelfTranscendence show. SelfTranscendence. Transcendence.
Ascendance or
show with Royal Anwar. ROYAL space ANWAR. WAR. Yeah, that the first one. Yeah, there you go. Got a new follower.
Yeah. Subscribe, bro.
I'll just give you a warning, because this video is gonna be on my YouTube as well. Like, the things I talk about in my contents is so radical, so different.
Right.
It's me just expressing my truth, but you make your own judgment. You observe it, you watch it,
cool,
you study it.
It's
So, Andrew,
your truth, though, mate.
Yeah.
Andrew, pleasure to meet you, bro. Well, best of luck with your vlogs, bro.
This is why I love Manchester. It's different. Yeah, see, bro. Like, the whole city of Manchester, their motto is that they do things differently. And how can we do different? How can we be different if we don't think different, if we don't feel different? And there has been too much emphasis on thinking. It's like we gotta shift that and focus more on feeling. Like, because when we feel different from our heart, from our sacred heart, when we feel different, we are able to see different, we are able to hear differently, we are able to act differently, we are able to interact differently with other beings. Like this being, the Andrew, that just here shared a very sacred experience with me and decided to be curious and ask a question. That's all it was. And we got to have this amazing chat, and this whole thing is recorded as an example of, like, you know, even though people say I'm crazy, I am crazy. I choose to be crazy. The questions, I ask a lot of questions. I question everything. And you know, when I ask those questions, and it's like, before it was me just questioning things randomly, but recently, especially this year, I've shifted the question where I made a decision. I said, hey, absolute, hey, Allah, hey, God, hey, supreme creator, blah, blah, whatever you call that higher being, that higher power, the absolute source creator. I said, hey, I've had enough of seeing things from my perspective of what I think life or reality is, or what I think this whole creation of yours is, or what I think you are. I've had enough of that. Show me everything through your perspective, through the eye of pure unconditional love. And it's fascinating. I had written these questions in my on a piece of paper and said, like, just a question, like I said, what do I look like through the eye of pure unconditional love? I had put it under my pillow, under my bed, my mattress, and I just saw it today. And really, the answer that I got from the spirit was, like, I'm a very strange being, probably like a glitch in the matrix. That's what I call myself, at least. The glitch in the matrix, at least one of them. or a very rebellious being, a very rebellious soul. That's why probably I went to hell, which I described before. It's like you being turned into this sheet of paper, this thin, and burning, like this thing is burning. But it's the kind of burning that it burns you, but you don't die. It's like you feel like you're dying, and then you feel like you're being born and you're being tormented. It's an eternal thing, because time is like eternal, time is infinite. Yeah, that's been a lot of my question, like what is time? It's just like an eternal and infinite thing. That's basically the eternal now moment that Christ, or Yeshua, Jesus Christ, was talking about. That the eternal now moment is all that exists. I don't know if he was talking about that, but I've heard it. People say he talked about it anyway. Ooh, look at that fire burning. So yeah, that's a very beautiful story there about like how this Andrew gentleman, this magnificent being, came, and I got a new follower on YouTube, and because this video is going to be on YouTube anyway, so he'll be seeing it, and that's what it is. With my whole social media, with Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and all of it, I have shared my truth. There is like 120 something videos on my YouTube channel saying, sharing all my truth about like have I been gay before? Yes. Have I fucked a dude before? Yes. And all of that. Have I done this, that? I've just shared my whole truth, all of it, completely unfiltered. Basically, it's very raw, and really, it's your choice. The way I've set the settings, so it's no kids see it and all of that. So really, it's just YouTube showing it to all the adults and everything, because a lot of the content talking about everything is really intense. It's really radical. It's so different, and it has its consequences. Which is what's the main lesson for this video is like, whatever you do, everything has a consequence. Everything has its consequence, and you must face the consequence, whether you choose to face it in this lifetime or the next one. It's best to just face it now, in this lifetime, and go through it instead of just delaying it, because if you delay the judgment, the justice, then you're going to be somewhere in the universe, in some other planet, some other star systems, incarnating in some other forms, and facing the judgment probably multiplied. So while you're in the human form, it's best to just honestly ask and be willing to process whatever bad actions you have had before, than in other lifetimes, in previous ones or in this one. If you have killed people, if you have cheated, if you have hurt, if you have lied, if you have stolen. I've stolen before, and I've talked about these things in my videos and all of that. Have I cheated? Not really. Have other people cheated on me? Yes. There's been, I think, at least 2 main examples of these girls that have cheated on me with their boyfriend. But think of it like this: that's a mutual thing. I chose to allow that. So really, in a sense, you could say I cheated as well. But at those time, I wasn't in a relationship, so I didn't cheat. But the cheating happened with me, and I was, because of me at least, because I played a major role in all of that, and I faced the consequences and the judgment and all of that. But at the same time, it doesn't matter how much you have hurt, how much wrong things you have done. If you truly, sincerely ask the Absolute for forgiveness, it will forgive you. And there's one specific example that's coming into my mind right now. Is like I've done a lot of the SelfTranscendence show with Roland in Manchester, in the Market Street, and all of that in city center really. And there was one example. I was in front of Selfridges, and this gentleman came. He just sat and held my hand, and he was really in a very miserable, sad state. And he was like, I'm paraphrasing, but his main theme was like he has done a lot of wrong things. He has been a very bad person, or unrighteous person. Has caused a lot of suffering and all of that. And he was like, how do I forgive myself? Or I was like, what do I do? I've done all this suffering and all of that. And really, I could see he was really suffering a lot, because before we can hurt anybody else, we always first hurt ourselves. Before we can kill something else outside of us, or another person, or we already kill ourselves within us. So, and I just said, hey, it's okay. We all do wrong things and all of that. Fire just lit up. And I said, yes, okay. You gotta first forgive yourself, because when you forgive ourselves truly, and in that is forgiveness. We allow the Absolute to make its own decision whether it wants to forgive us or how it wants to judge us or what kind of punishment it gives us. That is the Absolute's choice. It's not mine or it's not yours to make. It's Allah or God or the Absolute or the Transcendental or the Absolute Source Creator that makes the final judge. So the final judgment. Ooh. Fuck. Ooh. The smoke is going into my eyes. I could choose to sit on that side and not have this, and not go through this pain and suffering and the smoke going into my eyes, into my lungs, and fuck, the pain and my eyes hurting and all of that. But I'm choosing to stay on this side and talk about it in this video as an example to show you that, hey, it's best to be willing to forgive yourself first. That is the most important thing, number 0, and then ask for forgiveness from the Absolute, from really whatever higher power you believe in, whatever is your religion, whatever is your spirituality. I don't give a fuck about that. I never have. I talk about these things openly in my videos. To me, everyone is just one being. I call it unity. So you could say my religion is unity. That's why I say I am the eternal servant of unity on my website and everything. Oh, fuck. Oh. Just the eyes. And while I was in court, when the gentleman was presenting the report, like what had happened, all of that, I could feel the pain and suffering, and I started crying, and it's just uncontrollable, because I can feel things very much. Like before that, I did a lot of crying, and I felt a lot of the suffering and all of that, and how the families of the Manchester Arena attack, their families would have felt. And again, I'm really truly sorry for you guys. I hope, I have faith that at least some of you will be able to find this video and see it. If not, then really I'm truly sorry for the whole of Manchester, the community itself in Manchester, and ultimately the whole world and whole universe. Understand my action of like writing on the memorial the Glade of Light in Manchester City Centre. I know it was a wrong thing. I'm truly sorry about that from the bottom of my heart, and I ask for your forgiveness for all of you. And yeah, it's been a very transformative journey, a very transformative experience. So yeah. Fuck. Again, I could choose to sit on that side and not go through this suffering, but I'm choosing to stay on this side and go through this suffering, this pain right now as I'm doing this video, because really no one knows you better than you, and I know I've done a lot of unspeakable things. I've killed people before, at least not in this lifetime, in other ones. I have been in the Battle of Karbala. I don't know which side I was on or what I was doing there, I don't know, but all I know is I was there. So I'm a very ancient soul, whatever that means. It's like nobody knows you better than you. You are your own book of life. They call it the Akasha, or the book of life, or the book. Everything you do is recorded in that book. You are the physical manifestation of that book. You are that book of your own book of life, having the experience. So nobody knows you better than you. And me sitting on this side, going through this suffering, this self-caused suffering, is just processing some of that judgment, not just with the thing I did in Manchester, but all the other things I've done before, killed people, hurt people, and all of that, caused unspeakable suffering and all of that. So, but at the same time, I understand, using my own wisdom and discernment, I understand it's been all part of a bigger plan. It's all bigger than me anyways. Me doing this video is, think of it like this, like in a sense I have no choice in it. Like I must do it. It's part of a bigger plan. It's bigger than me. I could say the Absolute wants me to do it or is forcing me to do it. That's the truth anyways. And some people have a lot of, like, when we say that we are here serving Allah or God, or we are serving Yeshua Jesus Christ, or I'm serving Babaji or Muhammad or Imam Zaman or Buddha or God or the universe or Mother Nature, people seem to have a lot of judgments towards that. So I really don't use those things much, even though I'm the eternal servant of unity, which is all of us as existing as one being. So yeah, you know yourself best, or at least I have faith that you do. If you don't, start searching and understanding yourself, because I think it was like Rumi or somebody said, like, when one starts understanding or searching, getting to know his own soul, your own higher self, whatever the fuck they call it, you lose interest in everything else, because you understand how much of a magnificent being you truly are, with all your flaws, with all your judgments, with all the suffering you have caused, with all the unspeakable things you have done. Just trust me, you're not alone. We have all done it. We have all been through this whole thing many times. This is not the first time you're here. Some souls might be here for the first time, but a lot of us, we have been here for eons and eons and zillions of light years, or whatever they call it. So yeah, you must first acknowledge and accept your own shortcomings, your own weaknesses, whatever you have gone through, whatever suffering you have caused, and then forgive yourself, because nobody can come outside of you and forgive you. God cannot come inside of you, even though God or Absolute, it all exists within you. They cannot come inside of you and forgive you. It's like the Messiah, Yeshua Jesus Christ, cannot come inside of you and say, hey, as a being, say, hey, let me forgive you. That's not how it works, or at least that's how I'm perceiving it. It doesn't work like that. Nor Imam Mehdi Zaman can come inside of you and say, hey, let me help you forgive you for all you have done, because you must forgive yourself first before that can happen. When we forgive ourselves, when we accept our own misery causing our own unrighteousness, then it opens the channel, it opens the space for all those other beings, for all those other aspects of the Absolute, for God's messengers, for God's messiahs, prophets, imams. Imam is basically a servant to me. So even though I say I'm the eternal servant of unity, you could say I'm just an imam of unity, because imam is like somebody who's dedicated their whole life, their whole being, their whole existence to serve the Absolute, which is what I have done, which is what I have chosen to do. Everything is a choice. That's also another big lesson for you to pick up from this video, is everything is a choice. I could choose to deny the whole me damaging the memorial of light thing and deny it and all of that. I could fight it back and say I didn't do it, or I could just play like I'm crazy, or I could say I wasn't feeling well, or I was being controlled by some other things, or anything. I could get away with it, or with some lesser punishment, but that would be against my truth, against my integrity codes within me, and I would just be causing endless suffering for myself. That is what hell is ultimately. It's self-caused suffering. But I chose to not do that. I chose to fully express the truth from the beginning, completely and wholly, and got everything in the recording, the report, and everything. I maybe it will be shared or whatever. That's not my choice. Again, that's the law system, the data protection, whatever. But even if they want to share the report and everything, I give my full consent anyway for it to be shared, even though the whole thing is on the news anyway. So I just felt it necessary for me to express the truth and share a bit of my story of like why it happened, why I did it. It was really just me, because I went there a few times and I just like I could feel this connection with the people who died and the suffering they went through. That part of my work is like being, I call it an Ascension Merkaba healer. Ascension Merkaba is really just our body, you could say, like, but I don't do no healing at all. I'm a medium, a channel, an instrument through which that can happen. It's like, because down here it's like we are the feet, the hands, the eyes, and the ears of the Absolute. And even though it doesn't need it, but because we are in human form, it makes it more resonatable for us, for this thing to be done through human beings. Because think of it like this. Right now people are so against spirituality and all of this, that even if a Messiah showed up right in front of them, like Imam Zaman or Christ and all of that, I don't know if people they would like prove that you're the Messiah, or that you're a prophet, or that you're Imam Zaman. Like, that's how much we have strayed from the path itself. Which is why this whole thing is being done, this whole ascension and everything is being done on an individual level, on an individual transformation, but it's a collective collaboration where our collective consciousness has chosen to do everything the way it is being done. Like me doing this video, the whole Manchester Arena, me damaging the memorial Glade, that's all part of a bigger plan that is bigger than me. I've said that in the interview as well. It's all bigger than me, bigger than all of us, bigger than this whole law system and everything. But because I caused the damage, I face the judgment, the consequences willingly, honorably, because fundamentally justice matters and it must be served in whatever shape or form that is. And I've already suffered for it multidimensionally. I've suffered it mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I've suffered it physically. I've suffered it in this video as well with the whole fire thing, and that's part of it anyway. But at the same time, I've suffered it financially. At the same time, there is that extra judgment, the physical judgment. I've suffered on a soul level, not just for that, but for all the other wrongdoings I've done. But at the same time, whatever the judgment the judge makes, whatever judgment the people of Manchester or the court system makes, the judge makes, has a final decision, then it will be that. I will, if I feel like it's the right judgment, I'll accept it. If I feel like it's not reasonable for that, then I will take it to the next level in the court system, whatever that is, or the crown court, whatever, just so the proper justice can be served. But at the same time, like I said before, with the Andrew coming to the video and everything, Manchester has a motto, says we do things differently, and with this whole thing is like a test. Like, are you guys actually doing things differently? Like, I've expressed my truth, they're saying that what I wrote on those things are not the scratches, it's not the damage at all. It's expressing gratitude, appreciation, and love for all the victims of Manchester Arena in light language, in a spiritual language, in energy language, which is what everything is. Think of it like this. What if, again, everything I'm saying about this stuff is like, what if, because those people are dead, what if their spirit cannot interact with that monument, cannot see it without those markings, without those light language allowing them like access or serving as a portal for them to be able to see and experience all of that? What if it's like that? And we got to take things like that into consideration when we whatever judgment they make. I'm not trying to lower the judgment or trying to ask for forgiveness, or I'm asking for forgiveness anyway, but I'm not trying to say lower the judgment or this or that. No, all I'm saying is, like, we look at this whole thing, because they say it in the court, this is a very unusual case. It is, because it's like a test for all of us. Are we actually in Manchester? I've been here for about 10 years. Just spent 1 year in Sheffield. I've been in the UK. I've not gone out since I've been here in the UK. I've been I've not hurt people, basically. I've been a very good citizen, quote unquote. And this whole thing just happened is like something bigger than me. So is Manchester truly being different, or are you guys actually doing things differently, or are you guys just like being like the rest of the world and just like, you know, just doing things the old way? So yeah, that's like some part of my truth about, what does that say? Just my notebooks and everything. Just burning some journals from my old self, from old timelines that I no longer need, that I don't want in my life. It's like letting go and saying goodbye to that old chapters of me, and actually welcoming a new era, a new chapter in my life, in really the whole world. So yeah, that is my truth about why I did that and why it happened, what's my truth about it, what's my perspective. So you can see the truth fully, more multidimensionally, because truth matters. Because without truth, what else is there? Like, truth is all that exists, or Allah, or the Absolute, the Source Creator is the truth, or unity. So I have this thing. Ooh. 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 I had this spray I wanted to bring as well, just fire. Again, I'm, even though I'm recording all of this, I'm doing it in a very safe spot, because apparently I did some safety course in college. Apparently in the UK, safety, they say safety comes first. Safety is important, and I honor and respect that. That's why I'm doing this whole fire thing in a very secure place, and there's rocks and stones around me. It's a very secluded, secure area. I'm doing it in a very controlled way, so it doesn't go anywhere, cause damage to other people. Again, that is just me being considerate. It's funny, because I've always been very considerate and compassionate with other people, or how my actions affect them, or my behavior affects them, and all of that. I don't know how or why this whole Manchester memorial thing got out of control. Again, like I said, it's something that's beyond me. Even though I've questioned it, I've judged myself for doing it, I've punished myself for doing it, but I can see the bigger reasons behind it. It's a way, like, everything that's happening in the world is like us, Mother Earth, and everybody processing the healing and everything. It's like, think of it like this. There has been hundreds of millions of people or souls killed around the world. I'm not just talking about, forget the normal natural deaths that happen every day. I'm talking about people being killed through wars and sufferings and genocide and all of that. Like, there's like, I think it's about, I don't know how many millions, but basically at some point about 62% of, or 64% of Hazara people got massacred or killed. And in this lifetime, I was born in a Hazara family. That's where the body comes from, in Afghanistan. So I had to experience their culture and everything firsthand. And then I did some research. There was like hundreds of millions, more than 200-300 million probably, people killed around the world, at least for the recorded history that we have, which a lot of it is orchestrated and not true at all. But from the World War and everything, we can remember how many people lost their lives and everything. So you can see there's been a lot of sadness, a lot of pain, a lot of misery, a lot of dense energy in the consciousness of Mother Earth, because Mother Earth, like, I think she likes to be called Aria, that's her name or something. It's like there has been so much suffering, so much sadness in the collective consciousness, and there has been people like me coming here, soulfully, willingly surrendering themselves to the Absolute, and choosing to be put through whatever the Absolute has plans for them, so that we can heal on a collective level, and all of these things can happen. But because we are in a physical realm, yeah. And a lot of people need to see things. That's why a lot of these things happen in the world. And for us to see things that are unseen that's happening, and so we can heal, so we can use that event experience as a template, as a model to grow, to evolve, to ascend to our own thrice great Mahavatar, ascended master, God self, or really just realizing that God is within us, or we are the absolute, and all of that. Just paper and everything has run out, so I'm just creating some more fire to keep me warm while I do this video. And yeah, that's really it, honestly. It's my truth. That's what everything I wanted to express about that part of that side of things, about the whole Manchester memorial damage and everything. And also we got to have the example of Andrew here, a very interesting experience as well for me. And also we talked about like how you're your own judge, you know yourself best. If you don't start to know yourself, and ultimately you can choose how much you punish yourself, or again, like, you can choose to forgive yourself or not forgive yourself. But remember, you must forgive yourself, because forgiveness is self-love expressed in its truest, purest, highest self or highest form. Yeah, the fire is turned off, so I'm just gonna crabs. And then we talked about, me just really shared a lot of my truth about, well, all of it at least, and summarized about why I did what I did, and how I've already suffered for it, and whatever judgment that comes, the rest of it, with the whole court case and everything, which is Desmond. It's an ongoing investigation and everything, so I can't share those kind of details with you. How I've just been really open and honest with everything, truthful. And yeah, and also talked about like how Manchester says it likes to, it does things differently here. And this whole thing is like also a test to see how different we act as a community together, because I said this in the interview, like this whole thing is bigger than me, bigger than all of us, but like what we do here in Manchester affects the community in the UK. What the UK does affects Europe, Middle East, Asia, and all of that. What we do what we do in the world affects what happens in Milky Way galaxy. What happens in the Milky Way galaxy affects the whole, well, this cluster of galaxy and Andromeda and all of that. And what happens in this cluster affects the ones next to it. Think of like them as the galaxy's organs, or as tissues of the cosmic body of Absolute or Allah. And what we do, this cluster affects the rest of it. It's like it has the ripple effect. The actions we take here on an individual level, on a city level here, on a neighborhood level, Manchester affects the UK, the world, and what we do here on a global scale affects the consciousness of Mother Earth. It affects all these other planets in our solar system, and that affects the whole galaxy and the galaxy next to it and the one next to it. So you can see like the decisions we make, every second of it, every choices we make, every actions we take affects the whole universe, the whole of creation. But it never affects Allah. It never affects the Absolute, because this whole creation of his or its or hers, it's something that is, you can say it in a sense like whatever we do here is like in this divine hologram, in this divine matrix. It doesn't taint the Absolute itself, because that is beyond any of that. It's just this whole thing is creation. But at the same time, it's all designed for us, for each of us, for each soul wave, for each being to evolve, to grow, to transcend ourselves infinitely, and really become a God in our own right, in our own being, like whatever that means for you. Like I say, Royal Anwar Transcendence, that is my God name in a sense. Like that is me realizing my own divinity, my own godhood, and then becoming it, really just architecting, designing and creating it, and then becoming that, because really we're always becoming whatever we choose to become. If we pretend to be somebody who is unrighteous or somebody shy or whatever, then you become that. If you choose to admit that you have done a lot of wrong things, we all have, guys. Just if anybody says they have never done any unrighteous thing, if they have never lied or cheated or whatever, they are the biggest liars ever. We have all done unspeakable things. So it's best that we embrace that and realize that we each, when we are at least in this human form, are susceptible to temptations, to desires, to pains, to suffering, to causing hurt to each other, intentionally, unintentionally, or whatever. And we have been given the absolute freedom of choice to forgive ourselves, forgive each other, and realize that, hey, that person there is a mirror of me. It's just another me, or I am another you talking to you in this video. So yeah, that is some deep stuff, me just sharing with you guys, expressing the truth and all of that, and also trying to articulate and present it in a way that would make sense to you on a human level. At the same time, incorporating some metaphysical, some spiritual, some energy, light and darkness stuff in it, so it can be a balanced video, a balanced content for you to watch and observe and study for yourself, and then experiment, orchestrate and integrate whatever you learn in this video, in all of my videos, in all of my contents. Because like you see, I've never really say anybody like, here is do this or be like this or think like that or feel like that or act like that, because I have no right in doing that. All I do is share my own experience, what I've learned, what I experience on a daily basis, my own wisdom, which is basically the direct perception of the one sacred holy truth through truest, purest, highest, thrice great Mahavatar ascended master, God self. In plain English, that's basically saying wisdom is like the direct perception of truth through God consciousness, or through Christ consciousness, or through soul consciousness, in a state where you're not just dreaming, or you're not just going through life mindlessly, where you're awake, you're like a Buddha, the awoken one, that you're perceiving the truth, everything that just the way it is, and that's really what truth or what wisdom is. And I've just been really fascinated with gaining more wisdom, because the more wisdom I gain in multiple forms or shapes or whatever, I just always share it with the world, even though a lot of it is very strange. I don't sugarcoat things. My contents and everything, even though a lot of them are very bizarre, because those moments, like especially last minute, I'm posting all this bizarre stuff, because that was me just going through that bizarre experience and going through that whole intense experience transformation. It happened in 2020. It happened in 2020 was the main one. It happened twice in 2020. One was around summer, I think it was around when the whole COVID happened, and then one of it happened end of 2020 when I was intense, and I even went to the mental hospital and everything, because it was a very safe space for me to process and all of that and do whatever I had to do, and acting and bizarre and all of that. But then I got out because there was no need for me to stay there, because I just, even though I was just going through my process, my healing, it was a very intense experience, but I didn't cause any harm to myself or anybody else still, because a part of me, even though it was very intense, very crazy, a part of me always stays awake, is always aware that God's self within us, the absolute within us, or the Allah within us, that is always aware, that is basically in charge of everything. Even though we may think that we are in charge of things, we do this, we do that, but it's really that absolute within us that runs everything. So you could say we're all puppets without a string. And when I say without a string, it basically means that we have been given the freedom of choice. In each moment we can choose to go that path, or do this or that. And through that choice, we create our own destiny, we create our own purpose, we create our own mission, our own everything in life. And that's the beauty of it. That's how fascinating this whole thing is. It's very immaculate. It's beyond perfect. I remember last month, I think it was last month or so, at one point I came to the realization, like, this thing is not perfect. There's a lot of flaws and everything in it. There's a lot of at least this creation itself. I'm not talking about the absolute, I'm talking about this creation. And as I got to go through the journey, through the experience and all of it, as I chose to absolutely leave all the light, the spirit, everything behind, and actually go to the absolute extreme end of it, which is, well, in some of my videos and everything, I talked about that I am anti-God, anti-Muhammad, anti-Yeshua, anti-Buddha, anti-Babaji. It's basically me just balancing the energy in the whole universe. And in one of my videos, it's titled, it says I'm anti-God, anti-Babaji, anti-Yeshua, anti-Muhammad, anti-Buddha, transcendent or transcendental energy or spiritual energy. That's all it is. It's like a title. It's a position. It's like me. I chose to embody that energy. I choose to do what I did. So we could have some balance on the whole cosmos on a cosmic scale, which is what I was talking about, like transcending the cosmos and shit like that. It's me not doing anything, it's just the work being done through me, through the absolute and all of that, which is what I call my bestie, yeah, and all of that. So I just choose to have a very playful, very sacred relationship with the absolute, with the source creator, absolute source creator, which is why I call it my bestie and all of that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, that's why I chose to do that and all of that. It's a different thing than being anti-Christ. I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm not anti-Christ or anything like that. When I say anti-God, anti-Babaji, anti-Yeshua, anti-Muhammad, anti-Buddha, I'm talking about like this thing here. Ah, fuck! That's hot. I think I had this napkin somewhere. Find it. Also got a chocolate to eat after this. But anyway, it's like me talking about this. Ah, fuck! It's so hot. It's just been on fire. Oh, here, let me take some leaves to just balance it out, because the body will be burned if I don't. When I say I'm anti-God, anti-Yeshua, anti-Buddha, anti-Muhammad, I'm talking about this. You know, we have like absolute light, and then in this side you have absolute darkness. You could say absolute positive energy, absolute negative energy, and I just felt a gap on a cosmic scale. Like there wasn't really anybody publicly willing or publicly sharing or accepting or allowing themselves or choosing to be the container for that absolute darkness or absolute dense, absolute negative energy, or the everything anti, like, you know, we have like positive and then we have negative, which is like it's opposite, it's anti, like we have antimatter and things like that. Hello. So that's all it is. It's not antichrist and nothing like that. I don't even know what the fuck that is, honestly. I'm not trying to be antichrist. It's just me embodying a lot of the anti or the negative aspect of the energy within me, and also embodying a lot of the positive, the spiritual light energy within me, in my body, so it can be balanced in the middle. We can have this absolute neutrality, this absolute vibrationless state. So from this state in the middle, I can be both dark, I can be both light, I can be light and dark at the same time, I can be dark and light at the same time, but at the same time I am none of that. That is what transcendence is. That's why I say I am the incarnated personification of transcendence. Transcendence is really that transcendental nature of the absolute source creator itself, its ability to be light and dark, which is what we see in the world right now. Its ability to be dark and light at the same time, its ability to be neither of them, and at the same time its ability to be absolutely neutral in the middle, vibrationless, where it's not affected by whatever crazy fucking shit we do in this world right now. But what we do here affects each other. It affects me, affects you, it affects Mother Earth, it affects the creation itself, but it does not affect the creator itself, because the creator is beyond all of this. So yeah, that is, I'm just waiting here a bit longer to make sure that the fire thing fully turns off, so it doesn't spread somewhere else and cause this fucking place to burn. because that wouldn't be cool. Oh, look at that dog. So cute. Cute dog. So yeah, that's, I think we covered a lot of shit in this video, honestly. And when I even though this is a very serious video and everything, I do swear and all of that, it's just me having a balanced conversation with all of you, because that's part of my nature. I like to balance things out and talk about both sides of the spectrum, about the good, the bad, about the righteous, unrighteousness, which is mixed like a diamond, and in the middle I am all of that at the same time, but at the same time I'm neither of them. At the same time I'm righteous and unrighteous, I am good and bad. That is what it means to be transcendental or transcendent or transcend. It's like that's it, fundamentally what each of us, each soul wave, each human being wants to do. That is why we're having this whole fucking experience, is so we can each transcend ourselves infinitely. There is no limit on how much we can transcend ourselves. It never ends. It just never ends. So yeah, me coming here is also like serve as a warning that hell exists. I've been to hell. Also being the incarnated personification of transcendence, or the transcendental nature of the absolute having its incarnation, which is, you can see it's a very strange, a very odd thing, a very something beyond anything you can see, anything you've ever seen, anything, any prophets or any imams or any messenger or any messiahs you've seen so far. Like the things I talk about, the things I share is pretty strange, pretty wild, pretty crazy. So you make your own decision. You watch my videos, you observe them. When I say watch, you're just watching it as it is right now, and then observe without your judgments, without your religion, without your color, without your identity, without your sex, without your anything you may have. Just observe it as a pure, open-hearted soul wave, as a being that has no religion, no country, no birth, no certificates, no passports, nothing. Just to leave all that stuff away, just observe it so you can see the truth for yourself. And then you study it. You study what I say in my videos, the words I use, the objects I use to show you things, the writings I have on the paper and everything I showed you, like the things I have on my hand, the rings. In this one I have that, and the hand movements and everything I do is study those things. And then that is one side of it. That is one of this. Now we switch it like this. So now you do some experimentation, some orchestration, and some integration. So experimentation is like everything I saw, you pick whatever part of my truth, whatever part of my information, whatever part of my videos and everything that you like or that you resonate with, that you think is cool or not cool, whatever. Just you take that, experiment with it, using your own discernment, using your own wisdom, using your own knowledge, using all of your own soul intuition. And then do some orchestration. Is like how you can, it's like being the dude in the orchestra where he's doing like this. It's like he's not facing the crowd, he's just facing its own team. You're facing your own beings within you, the different side of you, like orchestrating, hey, how could we orchestrate that part of this truth that Royal talked about, or how could we take that part out because I feel like that wasn't true at all, or he just was bullshitting. That's cool as well. And then once you have done the orchestration, then you integrate everything you have learned from my videos, the systems I share with you, the Transcendence Infinity Merkaba, the Transcendence System, the Self-Transcendence Mastery, which is basically all these videos, all of the contents I talk about, I share, is basically talking about that same thing, that Transcendence Infinity Merkaba. Then you orchestrate everything you have learned, everything you have seen into your own being, into your own life, and that's all it is. You choose to take whatever resonates with you, and the part that doesn't resonate with you, just throw it out. Like just rubbish I pick it up from there, I'm just gonna put it in the bin. But while I picked it up, I just observe things and have a quick look at them, and just put it in the bin. But while I do that, I like this design, the color and everything. It inspired me and all of that. So when I'm creating my contents or designs, I might integrate some of the shapes or colors, color themes or whatever. just went there in the bin. That's all it is really. So yeah, it's getting dark there. You won't be able to see me, so I'm gonna end the video soon. Yeah, that's all it is, guys. Just to express my truth, and I love you all unconditionally, purely. I love everything, every bird, every stone. I even love shit. I've actually fucking hell, last month there was this sausage shit that I had done in the toilet, and just like there was one piece left after the flushing. I just picked it up and grabbed the bite and really just chewed it, and it was the most disgusting thing ever. I've tasted my own cum, licked the toilet seat, licked hospital floors, eaten from garbage, really done the most unspeakable things. Like eating shit is the most unspeakable thing any human can do, because apparently shit is the lowest being, or the lowest thing, or the lowest level of consciousness that humans have projected it to be. So that's how transcendental my love is for everything, for everybody. I see everybody as one being, as one unity. And yeah, I'm just grateful to be here, going through this experience, because everything is fundamentally an experience to me. And no matter what life throws at me, or because everything, this whole universe is really the teacher of all teachers. It's like trying to teach us very tough lessons. And when we choose to be in a state of like, whatever comes to us, we just see it as an experience, neither good nor bad, neither righteousness or unrighteous, but in absolute neutrality. That is when we're able to see everything as it is, as like a diamond, or like having the four main aspects to it, not just duality. That's why like last year I was posting about this quadraphonic event, like basically like splitting atom not in two, in four. I think it's like in Manchester they split atom in two, and then I came in, split it in four. This is what this whole thing was about. All of this is all making sense to me again. So first time they split atom in two, like duality. Just giving all of this as symbolic to express the truth and help you understand it, so it can serve as a model for you to see the truth for yourself. Like it all serves like as a window, as a template, as a Genesis template, as a system. They split it into two, like you can say light and dark, and then I came in, split it into four, like righteousness, unrighteousness, good and bad, and all of that, and it become like a diamond in the middle. You can choose to be the absolute neutrality, which is why I have that mantra. It says, absolute neutrality, transcending duality, vibrationless, transcendence, being. That thing that saved me from hell, whatever. So love you all. Give me some feedback on my videos when you watch them. Subscribe if you want to. If you don't, I don't give a fuck. That doesn't matter to me at all. If you like it, if you enjoy my contents, or you think that this guy talks some sense, or he doesn't talk some sense, or it's all for entertainment as well. So just like it, subscribe it, comment. Give me some feedback, see what part of the video you liked, what specifically you didn't like, because I'm more interested in that as well, so I can improve and gather feedback, because I've been gathering feedback, and I've been howling and roaring in next to my house, and my neighbor said, "Hey, are you the one who's doing all the howling all the time?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, can you go do it somewhere else, because it's a bit loud and noisy?" And I'm like, "Cool." And we had a long chat, and I just basically create a sacred space, safe space for him to express all of that, all of his frustration, because that's all it is. Like this whole earth is one community, and we have all these experiences. Like a lot of the times we don't even realize that what we're doing is because I'm just being myself. When I say myself, I'm just being my own truest, purest, highest, thrice great Muhammad, ascended master, God self, ruler and world transcendence. I'm just expressing and being my own truth, and sometimes it overlaps and causes some frustration for other people, and even though it has nothing to do about me, it's triggering something within them. At the same time, I'm being compassionate and kind and merciful, and just creating a space for them to express all of that. And I just apologized, and we shook hands and left happy neighbors. That's all it is. Or I could just say, fuck you, I don't give a fuck. We have freedom of choice. I can roar, I can howl, whatever I want. I could end it like that, but it's a choice at the end. I chose to go to that path or this path. It's like this. I can go through that path, or I can go to that path. It's your choice. Everything is a choice. Whichever path you take, that's how you create your own reality, your own life, moment by moment, which is how this whole infinite this eternal now is all that exists. So gonna get rid of this thing. Oh, there's the bin right there actually. Bye bye. Yeah, that's all. Give me feedback, guys, because I've been getting a lot of feedback lately, and I'm grateful because I'm always trying to improve. And even with my business, TranscendenceAcademy.com and all of that, I ask a lot of questions. I remember with my previous girlfriend, we were for 3 years together, and she got to listen to a lot of my sales calls and everything. They're something like an hour and everything long, and all I do is just ask questions. And she was like, "You do ask a lot of questions." Well, I was like, "Yeah, that's what I do. I ask questions so I can get the answers." It's like I ask a lot of questions, and basically there's never a day where I don't play 144,000 questions with Allah, with Absolute. It's like I'm always asking questions like, what is that? What is this? What is that? Why did it happen? Why is that? I don't even know how it manages to like always like stay patient with me. It's just crazy. Again, that's the Absolute. That's the Transcendental. It's our teacher. It's our father. It's our mother. I call it Father, Mother, God. Mother, Father, God. Absolute Source, Creator, Black Moon, Sun. That quad, the diamond thing, and in the middle of that is it's a pyramid with the Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, and within the center of that pyramid is the absolute source creator itself, the singular being, the unity itself that gives birth to the Trinity, like the Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu from the mythological perspective of Hinduism and all of that. That then create like a diamond around it that creates like the Mother, Father, God, Mother, Father, God, Father, Mother, God, Source, Creator, and then Black Moon, Sun. Again, those are all my own methods and systems and everything as a way to just trying to comprehend the truth and then package them humanly in a 2D way. But it's all mystically designed so you can come to the truth yourself. It's all just serves as a template basically. So yeah, in the news thing it says where I live, Toolbook Drive. That's always where it is. I've done videos and everything here before. It's where I live. It's a very nice neighborhood and everything, safe place. So yeah, that brings us to conclusion of this video. I did some other video where I was talking about how I had this key, dropped it in the planetary grids, node number 0, and I was basically like, I did the whole video and everything. I came here and I was standing here and it hit, like I was crying, and it was just like this whole truth was being expressed through me, and all of it was so beautiful. So I'm just standing here just to complete the cycle and everything and end this video where it started basically. Or end this cycle where it began, right here on a diamond. Look, in the middle is the pyramid, the source, and then in the center of the pyramid is the absolute source creator. That is just me using some geometry, because geometry is energy, to express truth. And again, one of the main reasons I study Islam, I have a Quran in my house. I read it all the time, not so much all the time, but recently I've been reading it a lot with English translation, because through the Islam perspective, they use a lot of geometry and patterns and sacred geometry and things like that, because that is what the absolute is fundamentally. It's very, think of it as if you have consciousness, awareness, spirituality, ethereal, we have energy, we have light. Think of all of that existing in its truest, purest, highest, thrice great Mahavatar, ascended Master God self, or in its truest, purest, highest self, or in its truest, purest, highest, formless form as the absolute. Or yeah, that's what it is. Like it's like energy, it's like consciousness, it's like awareness. Yeah. So that's the perspective that I use to interact with the absolute and communicate with it and talk with it on a daily basis. And that's how I've come to understand this whole reality, this whole thing as like frequency, as vibration and things like that. So yeah, that's how I see reality. A bit of giving you a hint, some teaser into how I see reality, how I perceive it as, or how I have been shown from the perspective of the absolute what it is. And then you guys make your own decision, your own judgment. Whatever resonates with you, take it. Whatever doesn't, leave it. I don't give a fuck, honestly. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. It's just me expressing my truth and yeah, saying it as it is. Yeah, very grateful for this video. A lot of truth got expressed through it, and yeah, it's gonna be on my YouTube channel right after I go home. I'm gonna upload it. I take a break and just rest and wash this thing because I just burnt it, purified it, cleansed it. So yeah, very fascinating. Yeah, subscribe. Not hit that like button, but just like really you subscribing and all of this is just gonna keep you in the, it's gonna send you notifications and stuff, so you can, the rest of the videos I upload, the future ones, you're gonna see it and all of that. But sometimes it's, if you give me some feedback, if you comment what you like, what you didn't like about my contents and everything, it will create I'll also post questions like, what do you want me to talk about, or what do you want me to do research and meditate on, so I can gather some knowledge, some wisdom, and share them with you, because all I do fundamentally is all to share with you, with all of you, to share what I learn, what I experience, what I perceive the truth to be, and then I just package it in a way, like create a system or a structure or a Genesis template, so you can use that and arrive at the truth yourself. Just gonna wash this thing here with some water, and also wash my boots of the assembler. I typically just come here and play with this water and just stand it bare feet, naked, because to connect with the Mother Earth. Because when you're wearing shoes with this rubber or with the synthetic rubbers and shit like that, it just creates an unnecessary boundary, which is why I usually just come here in towards the mornings, just stand here with bare feet. Yeah, that's washed. Well, washed in the sense that it's the first stage. I'm just gonna go inside and wash it properly. Yeah, I love you all so much. Post some questions, give me some feedback about all of my contents and everything, so you can improve and create better contents, better tools, better services for all of you, because fundamentally, you know, I exist to serve you guys. If I cannot serve in a more practical, more more functional, on a greater level, then what else is there to do? It's just me, because that's how fulfillment comes. When we share, when we give, when we help each other, that is how we feel fulfilled. If you have not been feeling fulfilled in any way, shape or form, start giving, because until you give, you're not going to feel fulfilled at all. Try it yourself and come back to me if you feel fulfilled in other ways. True fulfillment, guys, not just some illusory fulfillment, okay? We feel truly fulfilled when we're actually giving and being of service to the world and everybody on a greater scale, or whatever scale you do. So I've said this before in my SelfTranscendence show and everything, that in my dimensionless dimension of existence, I have empowered every human to transcend themselves and live in joyful love, luminous light, and peaceful unity as one cosmic family of infinite diversity. And within my being, within every cell and every atom of it, within every tron and all of that, that is a reality that I live, that I experience every single day. And it's a reality that's being mirrored outside in other beings in the whole of creation as I see it on a daily basis. So that's why I exist, is to live that truth on a daily basis, express it, share it with the world. And there's a lot of people like me, similar like me, because there's nobody like me. That's this strange, this odd, this weird. But there's this special group of people here on earth, special group of souls that have been doing this kind of work for a long time, and I'm just grateful to be a part of this team and be of service to humanity. Fundamentally, that's all it is. So yeah, thank you. Have you all so much. Bye bye.